This is The Roadmap with Lee Heisman.
Hello everyone, this is Lee Heisman and welcome to The Roadmap. Each and every week we bring you entrepreneurs and their journey on scaling and selling their businesses. This week we have a very good friend of mine, John Cristadoro. John, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Lee.
John, you look wonderful. I expected you to be in a three-piece suit.
Well, you know, it's still in the cleaners, but I did try.
I understand, but the handkerchief adds a lot, and I would have expected nothing less.
A little accoutrement.
I like that accoutrement. So, John, you know, you've been involved in so many businesses, and you've worked as a key account manager at CBS Radio with some large businesses like Disney, JP Morgan, BMW. Tell our viewers, what are some of the unique things? Most people think these large businesses, you're having big decisions made every day. What has been your experience working with large brands like this?
Well, it was refreshing. And again, a lot of people make a lot of assumptions. Large brands always approach things from a macro perspective. That is, they have something in lockstep, they go to market and they stay with that. And in actuality, they do it brand specific or initiative specific. So they would come to us and ask us, we were launching a new product, a service, a different flavor of, for instance, on Coca-Cola, the Freestyle machine. How do we penetrate this specific market and this specific customer in an effective, meaningful way to get return on investment? And so again, people make those assessments and those assumptions. They aren't always the case.
Yeah, it would seem obvious to me for that. So that's really intriguing information. Yeah. But most of your career, and we're going to get into some of the businesses you've owned, you've been in the marketing and advertising space, an area that I probably fall short personally, and I know a lot of business owners out there fall short on. But what is one of the most important marketing and advertising pieces of advice you can give to business owners out there?
Well, when you talk marketing and advertising, they're two totally separate things. So oftentimes people confuse media and marketing. So people come to us and they'll say, hey, listen, can you help us with our marketing initiatives? Sure, no problem. What exactly is your focus? What's your go-to-market strategy? But when they often confuse media, that is the fuel that you throw on the fire to let everyone know about your marketing initiatives. That's the media part of it. So make sure that your marketing message is clear and concise, and then you go to the mediums to throw, sort of fire on the or flames on the fire, so to speak.
No, that's true. So I never saw them as separate. So you're saying, I always thought marketing, advertising, it kind of is just one. I see it as a line item on my expense report on a P&L. That's not the same thing. There's a delineation between the two.
Well, perfect example. A chief marketing officer, he or she will know the brand, their initiatives, how to go, but they might not know how to tell the world about it. They have some ideas, some preconceived notions. For instance, one of the key focuses that business owners do or fall into is they'll fall in love with what they believe is the best source to target their consumer. And sometimes it doesn't always add up. So for instance, if I'm driving down the road on my way home from work every single day and I pass these billboards and so on and so forth, a lot of people will stick their face up on that billboard thinking, well, I'm gonna reach all my target customers. Well, in actuality, you're reaching yourself. And so again, they fall in love with what they believe is best for their business, and it's not always the case.
Fair. Well, we all have to love ourselves, but maybe not in that way, in that expense for putting a billboard up.
Sure, you have to have confidence, that's for sure.
That no question about it. And you've worked for so many years in the marketing and advertising area. Give me one of the biggest mistakes that you would recommend for entrepreneurs to try and avoid doing this.
Not having a clear picture of success prior to launching a campaign. And so oftentimes, not often, every single time we ask our clients, okay, what is your objective? Who's your target? What's the timing with which you want to hit that target? What's your budget? But most importantly, what are your expectations? What does that picture of success look like? So if you're targeting an adult between the ages of 25 and 34, and you're going to spend X amount of dollars doing that, do you need to convert X appointments? Do you need to sell X widgets? Whatever the case is, because too often times, especially with the big brands, at the end of the campaign or towards the end of the campaign, you ask them, so how's it going? And their response is, I'm not sure. I think it's good. I think the phones are ringing. I believe so. We're up 1.2%. But what do you attribute that to? So it's very, very key, no matter what size of your business, to make sure that you have a clear picture of success before starting any type of media campaign.
So what you're saying is don't ready, shoot, aim.
Absolutely.
You actually ready, aim, shoot, be very, very strategic.
And then be willing to pivot. Be willing to pivot if necessary. Not too quickly. There's oftentimes where people are like, all right, I've started this campaign. I'm doing a search campaign combined with a TV campaign combined with an activation, and they do it for 36 seconds. and the phone doesn't ring, and therefore they're gonna switch pivot. That's not always the case, and that's not always the best course of action.
Well, you jumped into the entrepreneurial world, and you have the Alliance Group, which is a main business of many other businesses. And part here at the Roadmap, we talk about business owners opening businesses, scaling those businesses, and then ultimately looking for an exit. And you actually have been through that. You've sold a business, and it isn't maybe the conventional way most people think of it. I have a buyer, a third party coming in to buy a business. Sure. You did it in another way.
I'm a people person, and I tend to do well, I believe, with other individuals that I can rely upon, a team, a network. And so I've had partners in multiple businesses. And one of those businesses was a subsidiary of my agency. And my partner and I, we didn't have a falling out. We just decided to go separate ways. He wanted to do something else with that industry. And so we came to, we had a valuation done, a fair market valuation that combined with what was owed to the bottom line, the P&L. And we had, I believe, a reasonable exit. And I was able to give him my 50% or sell my 50%, and I moved on to my other.
Are you still friends today?
Absolutely.
Well, see, there's a lot to be said for that, John.
Sure.
So now you've had another situation here on the Roadmap. Again, we talk about situations where third-party buyers come in, and you actually had a third party come in to look at one of your businesses. Give me the reason why, number one, you were even interested in selling it. This is a different business. Sure. And what happened through that process?
Well, again, with that business, I have a partner, and we are currently still partners. And over lunch one day, my partner said, I'm thinking about doing something else. In typical entrepreneurial fashion, we oftentimes fall into the squirrel trap. Oh, there's another opportunity. There's a way for me to make millions, and I'm going to focus on that. I try not to do that, but I fall prey to that as well. But my partner is in that situation, or was in that situation. He came to me and said, you know what, maybe I want to do something else. And I said, okay, well, you're considering selling your 50% to me. Let's have a true valuation. Let's see what's going on, see if you're actually serious. Because a lot of times people kick the can, see what they can get, and then as you, I'm assuming, well know, a lot of people overvalue their business.
Absolutely.
And so what it's worth versus what you believe it's worth, combined with the emotion and the blood, sweat, and tears that you've put into it and everything else, those values aren't necessarily the same. And so we came to that conclusion. And as a matter of fact, we are still partners to this day, and we're trying to get through our different opinions, if you will.
Fair. And that's the beauty. It's like a marriage, right?
Sure.
And I've always joked,
it's a relationship.
And John, I know you have a wonderful marriage, and I do as well, but I don't say that I've been married for 10 years. I say I've been compromised for 10 years. And that's the way to a successful marriage in life and in your business. You want to compromise all the time.
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit about, you talk about that squirrel mentality of a business owner and how there's always something else, but you actually did grow another business, and it's in a realm that I've never knew was out there. It's so intriguing to me, and it's the tax business. Is that accurate?
Yes. So we're a tax resolution firm. How we got into that was I had my agency and still have my agency, and I started working with my now partner. And he had hired my firm to help him build his business and gain leads and attract customers. And in the process, I was able to look behind the curtain, and I thought, wow, this is a pretty intriguing industry. And there's always going to be, unfortunately, death, but then also taxes. And so if there's ways for me to get into one of those industries, I'm game. And so with that having been said, we partnered, and I learned a lot about the tax resolution space. And in short, it is, if you owe the IRS money, we can help. There are a lot of firms out there, and sometimes, unfortunately, especially small business owners, they find themselves maybe forgetting to pay their quarterlies or mismanaging cash flow and think I'm going to get to it the next time. And then that next time turns into 1 year and 2 years, and penalties and interest grow. And then they're getting letters from the IRS saying they owe $50,000 or more. And so we'll step in with our team of tax attorneys and CPAs and enrolled agents and help them get back on the pathway to peace.
It's important. A lot of people out there, when they see notices or they might owe money in taxes, they realize, I think I can do this myself. But it's kind of like, do you want to do your own cardiac surgery yourself, or do you want to hire professionals? So,
well, there's YouTube, Lee. Everyone just jumps on YouTube and they
and there's also that easy button. I've seen that commercial as well. So, John, I know you've been through not only growing these businesses and scaling them, you've even had the successful exit of one business, and the other exit, why you went down that road. But for listeners and viewers out there, what is the one piece of advice you give entrepreneurs about when is the right time to sell or even look about selling?
As you know better than I, you've been through this many, many times, there's never one true answer as to when the right time is to sell. We all have reasons. My specific reason for considering was we're going separate ways with my partner. Other industries, sometimes people want to retire. I have lots of friends that start businesses with the intention of exiting. They actually start with the game plan to exit, which is great. And I've learned a lot from those individuals. And so I would say whatever's good in your heart and your gut, and if you're still fulfilled, be careful. The moment you have some success in one business, translation, access to revenue, you're very, very likely to try to dump it into something else or double down. And I've done the same thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's super key to stay focused, stay super focused so you can scale for that eventual exit. Sometimes people say, well, I'm never gonna retire. I'm never gonna exit. I'm gonna do this until I die. It's gonna be a legacy build. Maybe you don't have children. Maybe your children don't want to get into your business. There's lots of reasons to do it, but it's whatever at the end of the day is best for you. But the super, super important part of it is not just an obvious plug for Lee, but get a professional company to advise you the proper way and to try to take emotion out of it. I guarantee you 99.9% of the time, you believe your company is worth a lot more than what it actually is or what your P&L says it is.
Yeah, sometimes the truth hurts, but sometimes it can be helpful, and you're exactly
Absolutely.
right, having that correct professional. So I've got to ask this question, what is the future for John Cristadoro? I know there's other businesses and realms you're looking at. What is your future?
Well, I have the benefit of having an agency and sort of peeking behind the curtain as I did with the tax business. What I really like, if I had a magic ball, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I'd like to get into a business that has obviously monthly recurring revenue and as few employees as possible. I'll just be fully frank with you.
And then, once we leave the show today, John, there'll be a unicorn for you to jump onto that unicorn and ride
yes,
away.
I just want to press a button and make money and have no employees to deal with. No, I love people. Specifically, we're looking into the health space. I like to identify opportunities in the nice-to-have businesses and not the must-have services. And so, for instance, there's a lot of action around hormone replacement therapy and enhancement products and things like that, because guys like me, 45 years old, put on a few pounds, maybe I need some help knocking them off the easy way.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we're looking at now.
That's a great industry. I know it very, very well. John, thank you so much for coming on the show today, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. For our viewers out there, please keep tuning in to new episodes each week of The Roadmap.
Thanks for watching The Roadmap with Lee Heisman. This has been a JBF Business Media production.